or good afternoon, I should say. I'm glad to have this opportunity here today to share my thoughts on the results of the report submitted by Green Research and Technology. As with any outside or independent review of an organization, you will always find areas to improve, and this report is no different. While we strive for excellence, the fact of the matter is, we are human. Mistakes have been made, and we will make mistakes in the future. We try our best every day to limit and minimize those mistakes through training, adherence to policies, and effective supervision. While this report focused on the previous 2 years, I believe it is important to highlight the fact that in those 2 years, our department has responded to 102,940 calls for service. While I recognize that any complaint is one too many, it is worth noting that we responded to 99.82% of those calls for service without complaint. This is short of perfect, but I am no less proud of this statistic and the performance of our officers. I've only had a few hours to review this entire report, but I have been made aware of some concerns, specifically those related to our investigations of complaints. I recognize there are areas and opportunities for improvement in this area, and I have already begun to implement some changes to ensure better accountability. In the days and weeks ahead, I will continue to look for areas of improvement and changes that can be made. I'm also concerned by the perception created by this report and by certain comments by members of our city administration that my administration has promoted more aggressive policing, a lack of accountability, and directing or allowing our officers to make unnecessary arrests. We acknowledge that we are not perfect, and there are situations where we could have made better decisions. I believe these are isolated incidents and not a reflection of the overall conduct of our officers or this department. There were concerns in the report questioning our enforcement of certain laws, such as disorderly conduct and obstructing governmental operations. In the last 2 years, there have been a total of 21,440 charges filed by our officers in Decatur City Municipal Court. Disorderly conduct accounted for only 161 of those charges, and obstructing governmental operations accounted for only 110. Clearly, this is not an indication of widespread misapplication of those charges. Feedback I have received from municipal court and the conviction rates for those arrests under my administration further supports the validity of those charges. In spite of that, I will seek out ways to incorporate the recommendations provided by Green Research. I am very aware of the public's perception of how crime is out of control in Decatur. That perception is simply inaccurate. I've compiled and attached crime data going back to 2003 that indicates that this city is safer under my administration than it has been at any time in the past 2 decades. As just one example of this, in 2008, there were 990 reported burglaries in the city of Decatur, compared to only 117 reported burglaries just last year in 2024. This perception perpetuated on social media is just false. The city of Decatur is a safe place to live. There is crime in every city. Our officers and investigators, they work diligently every day to try to proactively prevent crimes and prosecute criminal offenders. What some might deem as aggressive policing, I would consider it to be proactive enforcement aimed at reducing crime to provide citizens in this city a safe place to live. While I'll be thoroughly and diligently reviewing this report in search of areas of improvement, I am most proud of the fact that the report did not reveal any evidence or suggestion of systemic racism, civil rights violations, police brutality, corruption, or other widespread egregious conduct by members of this great department. One of the key concerns highlighted in the report involves communication. That is on me. I know where I have failed and can improve. We need to do better communication with our residents and within my department. Please know there are times that I wanted to share information with staff and citizens, but court actions prevented some of that. Legal matters prevented me, as your chief, from sharing those details. I will always abide by the law to protect our citizens. However, I commit to doing a better job of working with each of the citizens and you guys to keep them informed and updated. In closing, I would like to thank Green Research and Technology for the work they have done. They can help guide us as we continually strive for improvement. I am proud of all these men and women of this department who serve this city every day and have done so under very difficult circumstances. I will reiterate, we are not perfect. We are human, and we will make mistakes, but we will constantly strive to be better, serve our community. And as the chief of police, I will continue to provide the leadership required to keep our city safe and to protect and serve our community. I will take a couple questions. Just keeping in mind that I've only had a few hours to go over some of the report. I just got it this morning to be able to review. So just understand I may not have all the answers, but we will get back with you with any questions, and Irene will be available. If you have some stuff afterwards, we'll try to get to you. Okay? So.
You said the report did not reveal systemic civil rights violations. Maybe the key word there is systemic, or the review did point out some officers may have erroneously charged, in this case, I'm assuming Perkins demonstrators, with disorderly conduct or OGO while they were exercising their civil rights. Have you considered, or will you consider reviewing those interactions with Perkins demonstrators and based on those reviews potentially offering recommendations to city prosecutors to drop the charges?
Yeah, at any point in time, we do that all the time as far as looking at any violations. If we find that there's any issues, we run it through our legal department, and if they concur, we would do that. I could sit here and say we've reviewed a lot of those cases, and I don't believe in this point we've dropped any of those at this point in time.
So they're all valid in your position?
At this point, yes. I think there's a lot of court matters to some of this.
You say you hadn't had a chance to review the report. Is this the full report that you were told, as you know, with full redactions?
The report that I received today was the report with the redactions.
Okay. And can you give an idea on how many of those pages were redacted?
That would be up for legal to go through with all that. I think you'll be able to see that on that as well. So.
Chief, the review had mentioned in several parts about the need for more community policing and indicated that you were working on some measures. Can you share a little more about what community policing measures you're working on right now? Yes, sir. I think since I've became chief, look, we started several different things. We started our ACES program back. We've done several coffee with the cops, and look, we're always striving to look for better ways to do it. And the truth of the matter is what it takes is to have a good city, a good police department, is some proactive policing and community policing. It takes both of them to be able to do it, and we have steps that are going into that right now. Obviously, was part of the plan that I put out. There's going to be more of the listening sessions. Some of those were put on hold until we got this report back. So, but yes, those are plans that in the future we'll continue to strive and do better. So. Do you agree with some of the thoughts about training and retraining officers as far as dealing with situations in the life?
Look, all these guys right here will always take some retraining and some training. They all love it. Look, we're not perfect. I think I've said that, and we'll continue to do that. And I think even with some things that I may or may not agree with, we're still going to do majority of the recommendations that are in this report. Yes, ma'am.
There was reports in there that said many officers don't see you as much of a leader. How do you plan to improve upon this for the coming years?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think some of that can be misinterpreted through a lot of different things. I don't know. I do know that, let's just say this. I think this showing up here today shows that I am this leader of this department, and they will continue to do that and follow with me. There may be some that may not like me, but hey, that's okay. So.
And then going off of the complaints that were filed incorrectly, why were they filed incorrectly, and is there going to be a personnel change because of that?
So, like I said, we're going to look to see some areas of improvement. What I can say is all the recommendations that they had in their report of the Office of Professional Standards, that recommendations, all those have been implemented before this report even came out. Through a conversation or two that I had with Green Research through earlier before the report was ever done, there were some things that I was like, we could probably do a little bit better in that area. And we've already implemented that, along with some other areas that we're going to do as well as some future retraining and some extra layers of review for all complaints from here on out.
How much of a priority is it for you as chief to take these recommendations from the review and actually implement them into your department?
Obviously, at any time, I think I've said, we're looking at ways to improve constantly, daily with everything. And that's no case with this, no different with this. We're going to look at these and continue to improve on those and implement. I think I said that in the statement, we're going to implement several of these recommendations.
The review talks a lot about the lack of communication. I want to know more. Is that lack of communication just within the community, or is that also lack of communication within the department as well?
I think in the report, from what I remember, it kind of said a little bit of both. I think the guys understand that when I first started, there was a lot of communication, and like I said, I understand where I've lacked in some of that, but I know where I've lacked and where we've already working to do things much better. So.
I think that's going to be our last question. I have copies of the statement. Did you have anything else to add?
No, we'll have, I've made a couple of tweaks from that one.
Okay.
So what we will have is we will post my statement on our Facebook page, so you guys will be able to get that from there. And then we will also have made available the stats that were over here, kind of showcasing some of the crime data from that. We'll have that available for you guys as well. I'm not for sure if we'll put that on our Facebook page or I'll have her send that out to the press, okay? I appreciate you guys. Thank you for this opportunity, and y'all have a great day. Thank you.